Welcome, everybody, to Bougie Sports. And as usual, we thank you for joining us and choosing us to be your podcast. I am Heather, and I am with my amazing, our CEO, our founder of Bougie Sports, Yvette.
I think you're talking about Ollie.
Ollie is the chief happiness officer, like Bender. Ollie's our chief happiness guy. As usual, check us out on X at Bougie Sports. Check us out on the web at bougiesports.net. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can check us out there, Bougie Sports. All of the links will be there. So check us out everywhere, but please subscribe to us on YouTube. So welcome. We have a lot to go over. We're going to do a college football pod today and so much action. So much action. We're going to go over week 8 and all of the craziness and the madness that happened in last week. And then we're going to do a little bit of a preview, and then we have some bonus stuff to talk about. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. I'm really excited.
Yes, me too. And wait a minute, you didn't say the most important thing. No Browns.
No Browns. We're not going to talk about the Browns today. We're talking about just the happiness.
Browns, though. I literally just talked about the Browns by saying that. I cannot talk about the Browns.
No, we're just going to talk about happiness today, and it's not happy for everybody in college football, but it's not as miserable as it is being a Browns fan. So, and good afternoon, City. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thanks for the comment.
Yeah. So no Browns today. It's all good stuff. I hope so.
Yeah.
So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to recap some of the games that happened last week. There were some upsets. There were some really exciting games last week. I don't know if you guys if you watch all of the games, but if you don't, if you're just a fan of one particular team, I would encourage you to watch a lot this year, because it's just like March Madness in a sense. There are so many upsets. There are so many changes in rankings. One of the games that I watched last week that I was really happy about, and I am biased, I will admit it, but it was the Illinois versus Michigan. You had number 22 Illinois versus number 24 Michigan, and Michigan did not look good. And I promise you guys, this isn't my bias talking. Even Michigan fans, I was seeing all over X during the game. It was bad. It was really bad. Illinois ended up winning 21-7, dropped Michigan to 4-3, and brought Illinois up to 6-1. So, Yvette, I'm not sure how much you're looking, and I know that you're just getting into it, but the Big Ten really has been a surprise this year on some of the teams and how good they are, and some of the teams that are good, like Illinois. 6-1 this year. Not a big Brett Bielema fan, but he has been coaching really well. Illinois, it was their first win against Michigan since 2009. And for Michigan, it was the fewest points that they've scored since 2014. Michigan is struggling this year.
They are. You know a lot about college football to be happy about that.
Right. I think that I think with the scandal this year, I think there are a lot of fans that are rooting against the success of Michigan, and they're rooting for the demise of them. So, yeah.
Listen, I just want to say, you guys, wow, Heather, this is going to be a Heather's podcast. I am trying to have some fun playing producer over here, so don't mind me.
No. I love it. I love having you. I love having you with me and my football partner, because I can talk about this and you can, ask any questions or anything that you want to know. So and give us the sound effects. So last week with Michigan, I wouldn't say that Tuttle had a bad performance. So we're getting a lot of who's.
Oh, we got a question too. Keep your questions coming when I see them.
Keep the questions coming.
Attention.
Yeah.
Who's winning Texas? Texas, that's like the big story. And this is Heather. I know that Heather's been a big fan of Texas since we're getting. That's your number one. That's who you said that we can't beat, or who is the beat. So what do you think about this question on?
Yeah. So I was surprised. So we can jump in. I was actually surprised. Just watching Texas this whole season. I did not see a weakness in either side of the ball. I didn't see a weakness in special teams. I didn't see a weakness in offense, not a weakness in defense. But Texas actually played Georgia this past week, and it was funny. I did a poll, who's going to win, and I did it before the game, and overwhelming, it was Texas before the game started. And then after the first quarter, it shifted greatly. So Texas ended up losing to Georgia 15-30. And I wouldn't call that a massive upset, but I actually would call it a big enough upset because of how Texas played. I think that Texas really struggled against a good defense, and you saw mediocre quarterback play. If you had asked me, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I would have said that Quinn Ewers was going to run away with the Heisman. He was firing on all cylinders. He couldn't miss. And Quinn Ewers was 25 of 43, and he only had 211 yards. You can't pass the ball 43 times and only have 211 yards. And he did have an interception, and he was benched for a little bit. I think it was in the second quarter at the end of the first half. They put Arch Manning in, and Arch Manning didn't do much better. 3 of 6. They only had 230 total yards in the air, and that's not going to beat anybody. So I think that Texas has a lot of work to do right now. I think that they need to figure it out now.
Which opens it up more than for the other teams, don't you think?
Yeah, and Yvette, that's an excellent point too. I think that one thing that this year is proving is that really anybody can be beaten any week, and the playoffs are going to be they're going to be wild, and it's going to be a wild ride getting there, because you're seeing all of these rank changes and these matchup changes, and it's who is going to be on top. I don't know. I really truly don't know. I guess after last week's play, Georgia looked really good. They looked really good on both sides of the ball. They had an amazing defensive plan. They, like I said, they scored 30 against Texas. So they had a really good offensive plan. They never trailed. So Georgia looked like we all expected Georgia to look like after that Bama game. You thought Georgia is falling off. They're not going to do well, but they really came out and played Texas like a national title team. So, Kirby is a really good coach. He really can make incredible in-game. He pivots really well is what I'm trying to say. He looks at everything. He can read an offense, he can read a defense, and he makes in-game changes. So I don't think there's anyone better in college football as far as coaching. Now, we could talk about Georgia. The culture at Georgia, it's a win at any cost culture. And they just had, I think last week, they just had another player that got arrested for domestic. So Georgia does have a culture problem, but just looking at their play, they really are they're looking like my national title team right now. But again, who knows what it's going to be this week.
So that person, whoever you were talking about, is definitely going to be on the Cleveland Browns in about 5 years.
Well, yeah, and we're going to keep and we're going to talk about how he's a model. There's actually quite a few Georgia players that we can choose from. That's been yeah,
that happens, and which is going to be really great and exciting. Like with this podcast coming up, here we go. All roads leave the Cleveland Browns with me, but we are going to have a high draft pick this year, so it's going to be nice, like to talk about these top prospects that are going to be on the Cleveland Browns, maybe save us. Yeah, but
yeah, we'll have to closer to the end of the year, we'll have to do a little bit of a special on that, because I think that quarterback is going to be the Browns' biggest. Obviously, that's going to be our biggest need to fill. We need to fill our offensive line, but quarterback. And just the last couple of years, the quarterback drafts have been unbelievable. And even when you think that there's a weaker quarterback draft class, I don't know. They're playing pretty well this year.
Listen, but you're also looking at it through Browns' eyes, like a Browns fan's eyes. Well, I know last year we had this year's quarterback class. Woo, that this year's hot, and we haven't even seen play yet because he got hurt. So,
Right.
and it
Right.
add him to that. But and you know
Right.
what? In the year Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, and that was a hot year too. But they do say this year there isn't that many great quarterbacks coming in, which it might be a heavy, and the wide receivers were really good that room too. So yeah, you're right. I'm curious to see. Okay, never mind. We can't even talk about that because that's
Well, but it's some of the wide receivers last year. The wide receiver class was supposed to be so great, and we're not seeing it this year. I saw it. Marvin Harrison. He's not having a great year. He doesn't have the best quarterback.
Malik Neighbors is.
Malik Neighbors he got a really bad concussion. I was happy to see him come back because he got his bell rung. So it's the wide receivers haven't been performing, I think, the way that a lot of people thought that they would. So yeah, it'll be
that has a lot to do too, like you said, on the quarterback, the coach, and if they got into the right scheme, like someone like my new team, Washington Commanders.
Well, look how. And off the he's an Ohio State guy. Terry McLaurin. We always knew he was going to be a really good receiver, but he didn't play super great. And then now he gets a rookie quarterback, and now all of a sudden he's like, wide receiver one. He's a must start every week. So
finally, all the pieces come together and magic happens.
It does.
I want to talk a little bit about Ohio State. They're both, is Nebraska undefeated, or they have the same record?
No. Nebraska is okay. So Nebraska this year, they started out, the first couple of games, they looked really good. They have a freshman phenom quarterback who was supposed to be the next best thing, Dylan Raiola, and they've not been playing well. Nebraska has not been playing well at all. Nebraska's defense is really the reason that they've kept them in some games, but I do not see this being a tough matchup for Ohio State. I'm actually going to be at the game, so anybody that's watching, if you guys are going to be at the game, say hi. I will be there. It's scarlet out, so everybody make sure you wear your scarlet. I've been getting emails all week from Ohio State and getting alerts from Ohio State to make sure you wear your red. So
I'm not ignoring you, by the way.
Oh no, I know.
I'm trying to clean up remember the graphics I sent you?
Yes.
For this that I didn't put on it. But,
No. I will say something though for you. So the game line on this is Ohio State is minus 6,000. They are minus 6,000. So if you bet $10 on this game to win, you'll win 16 cents. That's how heavy of a favorite.
That's how bad this team is.
That's how bad this team is. Yeah. Ohio State is a very, very heavy favorite. So Ohio State is actually averaging 500 in yards per game, and they're averaging almost 300 yards passing. And despite how everybody panicked and how, we lost to Oregon, how we played against Oregon, our offense still did fine. I wish that we didn't talk about that final drive because Ohio State, they played fine. We're still averaging almost 300 yards passing. Now, Nebraska does have a decent pass rush. They've got a decent secondary. They're only allowing 200 yards, just shy, or I'm sorry, just a little over 200 yards per game. So that's where it's going to be a little bit of a test for us to see if we can air it out. But I'm not overtly concerned, especially since we're playing at home.
Got this in the bag.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And I actually am excited to see Raiola play in person because he really is a very good quarterback. I'm just not sure he chose the right team. Nebraska is good. I think he was committed to Alabama and he decommitted and chose Nebraska, which it shocked most. Let me say this. It shocked a lot of people, but it wasn't as surprising, I think, as we thought, because Raiola does have some family ties to Nebraska. But, for him to choose Nebraska, I'm not sure it was the the best choice for him. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in the portal. Maybe not next year, but I think he'll end up in the portal. He has been underperforming, but he does not have a great supporting cast. They don't have a strong running game. They don't have a strong wide receiver core. So with what Raiola is working with, I think that he is actually performing better than what he should.
Now,
He's
let me ask you a question about that in the portal. Like, can these quarterbacks, with the introduction of the portal, like how you're saying maybe this isn't the right spot for him, can this also be potentially too, like, just like free advertising for these athletes? So once they go into the portal, like, it's almost like, okay, I just wanted you guys to see what I could do there, because maybe there isn't that many like other people that eyes are going to be on, and that maybe that this could be a place just like, how many places are you going to move?
I mean, you can move every year. The new rules, you can move every year. You can enter into the portal every year. I think I actually, when I was on a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and this is one of the things that we started to get into with the portal. It's I don't hate the portal and how it's set up and how you can transfer. I don't love that you can transfer infinite amount of times, but I think that when you're 18 years old, 17 years old, you're making a decision for your entire life and your career. And we don't always choose the best person. We don't always choose the best job. We don't always choose the best, you make your decisions based on your experience. So like a 17-year-old Raiola, 18-year-old Raiola making a decision on where he wants to go, you choose, you hope it's the best fit. And if it's not, now these kids have this opportunity to go into a better system. I mean, again, Will Howard, he's been dumped on a lot for how he played last week, but at Kansas State wasn't the best fit for him. The same thing with Quinshon Judkins. Ole Miss wasn't the best fit for him. So these kids get a chance to, okay, now I can really make an educated decision. I know where I fit into college. I know, how I'm playing, what type of offense I like, what type of offense I don't like. Let me see if I can find a team that's going to be a bit of a better fit for me. Maybe I like constant play action. Maybe I need a team who has a really good running game. Maybe I need a team that has a better offensive line that I need to go to. So you have a year's worth of game film that you can watch for these colleges. You have coaches that you can talk to. You're a little bit more experienced, so you can go in and you can make a better decision in the portal. Now, you shouldn't be allowed to constantly change.
Yeah.
That's for a different day.
I mean, I guess it would depend too on I see exactly what you're saying, but I also can see the other side of it where too much is, are you going to be a pocket passer? Are you going to be a mobile quarterback? You also do have to gear in on something, but so I feel like, can it be too much? Or if I don't like this, am I going to move that much? Maybe you get undisciplined, but this is all new. And this is stuff we'll learn, I guess, as
because the NIL plays into it, plays a big factor into it.
Imagine if you could do that with back to the Cleveland Browns. How many people would leave the portal?
Well, I know, right? It's like free agency. It's like free agency. Like, I'm not signing with you again. Yeah, I'm not going to re-sign with you. Yeah,
you suck. But you're going transfer portal.
Well, but a paycheck also doesn't lie either. How many of these players? There are a lot of players that Florida is actually one of them that doesn't get talked about enough. They've got quite a bit of NIL money that they hand out to their players. And some of these players are going to Florida because they're getting the biggest paycheck. And I think that that's where it's kind of the same as the NFL. Everybody talks about how the players need the fans, but the players need the fans because they need that paycheck. And they're going to go where they're going to get paid.
Baseball, for example, where you have like the Yankees who win
in LA.
So much money. Like when you get the money, it's just, how do you ever...
Right. How do you walk away from that? How do you walk away? Because you have the two, the World Series is going on. It's tonight. You have the two biggest markets in Major League Baseball. Well, and that's the thing for fans like us, who cares? Unless you're an actual fan of that particular team, they're not going to get a ton of people watching because who cares? I don't care about LA. I don't care about the Yankees. I mean, F both of them. I hope that they both lose, and
They always
we
they
can
get
move on.
everything, but
They do. They do.
yeah.
And I do think that's where the NIL and the transfer portal is changing the landscape of college football a little bit, because you used to have, your SEC was king and your Big Ten was always, you had Ohio State and Michigan up to a point. That was always, the big schools. And now you're seeing more colleges that are doing well. And I actually put a poll up a couple of days ago, is what's the biggest surprise of college football this year? And by and large, the overwhelming surprise for everybody was Indiana. So Indiana is actually 7-0. Indiana is 7-0 this year. They're ranked, I think, number 13. That's been just such a surprise. But again, it's going back to changing the landscape of college football. So you have these teams who are not. Indiana is a basketball team. They're a basketball team. They're not a college football team. And here we are with Indiana ranked number 13, possibly going into the biggest games of their life against, they play Michigan and they're going to play Ohio State in a couple of weeks. And you have, Curtis Rourke. I don't think he's going to win the Heisman, because he actually just had thumb surgery. I think he broke his thumb last week in the first half, so he had to have surgery. So he's not going to play this week. So that's going to really hurt his Heisman chances. But he was in the Heisman conversation, a quarterback at Indiana who is undefeated in the Heisman conversation. And you really like to see stories like that, because it's Indiana. How can you not like Indiana? There's nothing unlikable about this team.
Who doesn't like that? That's like a Hallmark special. That's the kind of stuff that gets me going.
Yes. I love it. I'm like, yeah. So,
but, I mean, they're going to play Ohio State, though, or you want them to win.
They are. And what's really sad about this whole thing is that for Indiana is let's say that Ohio State runs the table and we end up, beating Indiana. Indiana is going to have one loss and they're still not going to make it into the Big Ten championship, because if Ohio State wins out and Oregon wins out, it'll be Oregon and Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. Yeah, Jason, you're absolutely right. They have a really good football team and they have a good backup. So Taven Jackson, he went in the second half last week and he played really well. He's a third-year player. He was benched for Rourke to start this year, but they have a really good backup this year. So it's going to be, this week is going to be their biggest test until I think they play Ohio State. I think that they're going to handle Michigan when they play them next week, but they play Washington. Washington's not playing so great this year, but anything can happen. They've got their backup quarterback. So I would bet on Indiana this week to play, because they're playing with such passion. They have the momentum. But Washington, I wouldn't say that Washington is going to give them an easy game this year. So Indiana was definitely the number one thing that people were talking about, how that was the biggest surprise. Another really cool story this year for college football is service academies going undefeated, and the return of Army and the return of Navy. So Army is 6-0, Navy is 7-0, and they're both ranked.
I heard about this on Pat McAfee.
Yeah. And it's just such a cool story, such an awesome turnaround, because again, if you root against Army or Navy when they're playing each other, you can have your favorite, you can have Army, Navy, because it's arguably the second biggest rivalry in college football behind Ohio State and Michigan. And there's the potential this year that they're, maybe one of them can sneak in to the college football playoffs. That was another conversation that we had this week is do I think that they get in? I think they're going to look at strength of schedule, and I just don't think that Army or Navy has a great strength of schedule. Navy, maybe, because that's a preview that I was going to go over is Navy plays Notre Dame this week. And, Notre Dame is a 12.5 point favorite, but Navy isn't going to give them an easy time. Navy has a really improved offense this year. I think that they're on their he's a second year coach, I think, for Navy, and he's really breathed some life into this team. So that is going to be, I think, my favorite game to watch this week is going to be that Navy Notre Dame game. I'm going to have to watch it from my phone though. I'll be at the shoe.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can multi.
Yes, yeah. But it's a really cool story. There's some really feel good stories this year with college football, and after the NFL season that we've had, I think we need that. We need some feel good.
Oh gosh, yeah. And the Cavs, we have the Cavs coming up, or they started back up, and we're going to be covering them as well.
Yeah, Lysandra and I are going to start, we have to get together and see what that's going to look like, what the cadence is going to look like. But we're both, massive Cavs fans. And Yvette, we're going to go to a game. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun things. There's a lot of fun things going on with college football. Another one of the bigger surprises that I wanted to talk about and that got some votes in the poll is Alabama, the demise of Alabama. And who would have thought that Nick Saban leaving them coming off a national title run, they actually, I don't think that they are going to make it into the playoffs this year. They have a really tough schedule, and I think that they could lose, 3 more games. I think they're going to lose at least 2 more. I think they lose against Mizzou this week, and I think that they lose against LSU. And that Oklahoma game is looking like it could be an upset the way that Alabama is playing. I don't know if there are any Alabama fans in the chat here, but
I know at the beginning of the season, Alabama is one of the favorites, weren't they?
Yep. Yeah, they were. They were an absolute shoo-in. They were going to make it into the playoffs again, and they were probably going to at least make it to the Final Four. They had Jaden Milroe, who is a second-year player who took them as a freshman to the playoffs last year, and really it came down to the wire with Michigan, and you just thought, okay, that momentum is going to be huge, and they got that coach out of Washington. I don't know how to say his name, DeBoer or whatever. And he's an offensive-minded guy. And Alabama had all of the weapons. They had a running game. They had the wide receivers. They had Jaden Milroe. It's the logic is because I don't think that Alabama is going to have the offensive power. I watched that game with Bama and Tennessee last week, and I don't think it's not that I don't think Tennessee is a good team. Tennessee is a very good team. There's a reason they're ranked number 7. There's a reason that they've only lost 1 game. They have a good defense. They have a good offense, but Bama is not playing well on offense. And I can't put my finger on why. I don't know if Jaden Milroe is disenchanted with the offensive schemes. I don't know if he's having a regress after the Georgia game, but ever since the second half of that Georgia game, you haven't seen Alabama's offense really do a whole lot. Alabama scored 17 points last week. And 17 points for a Navy or for an Army, that's pretty good. But 17
that's like a first quarter in most cases.
Correct. I mean, I've seen
college football.
Yeah. You just don't see teams like
that.
Or
the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, right. The Detroit Lions, the first quarter of the Lions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but there are a lot of college football teams that are putting up 17 points in the first quarter. And for Alabama to do it in an entire game, again, I'm not taking anything away from Tennessee. It's just not what we're used to seeing from Alabama. And Alabama does have a good defense, but you can't have your defense on the field a disproportionate amount of time to where their offense is on the field. So I don't think that Milroe looks right, and I can't put my finger on why. So that's why I think that Missouri is going to beat Alabama. And then I think that the same thing with LSU. I think that they're going to lose to LSU. I'm just not sure they're going to be able to get that mojo back. And, maybe it's going to take a couple of years to get his guys in. These are still Nick Saban's guys. So, maybe they haven't bought into the new culture yet. Maybe they're still trying to learn a whole new coach, a whole new system. And I just can't put my finger on why, because Nick Saban left them in really good shape, and they seem to not be taking advantage of it. So I think that I don't think that Bama makes it into the playoffs, and I don't think that they win this week, and I think that they lose against LSU next week too. So that's my logic.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I saw the
Okay.
Bama averages 38 a game against. I see we have a Bama fan, and he's going to get upset with me. Bama averages 38 points. Yeah, I'm not saying that they're not good. Yes, for Alabama, it is. They put up 17 last week. Jaden Milroe is not playing the way that Alabama offense needs to play. Bama is they've lost 2 games. They lost to Vanderbilt. You can't lose to an unranked team. You can't have 2 losses, lose to an unranked team the way that they did, only put up 17 and expect to make it into the playoffs. So no, I don't. It's not personal against Alabama. I actually don't hate Alabama. Nick Saban.
She hates him. No,
yeah. No, Nick Saban. He was a god. He was a college football god. I don't know if there was a better coach that was ever in football than Nick Saban. I just don't think that this team is playoff bound. I think maybe it's going to take a couple of years for them to get there. They're on a downswing. So that's what I think. They're averaging 38 points a game, and they still have 2 losses. And they're probably going to have another one or maybe 2 more. So it's just it again, it kind of goes back to the new landscape of college football. I just said, why they'll lose to Mizzou, it's going to be their offense. They're not going to be able to put up enough points for Mizzou they have a good defense. Mizzou is a tough team. They're a tough team. I don't see Milroe bouncing back, and maybe he'll come out and prove me wrong, because he does have a chip on his shoulder. And I hate that saying, because players really kind of look for any negative thing that they can to use that as motivation. So I think that every single player kind of goes out every week and plays with a chip on his shoulder. But maybe Milroe will go out and say, you know what, I haven't played really well the last couple of games, so I'm going to go out and I'm just going to air it out, and I'm going to play, free, and I'm not going to play cautious. And and maybe they prove me wrong. So I just think that Missouri is going to have a defensive. It's going to be a defensive game, and I think that Missouri comes out on top. So yeah, that's what that's the long-winded version of how I think. Yeah, you're right. And Alabama has a very good defense. That's the thing that's never. I don't think that that's ever going to change. Alabama is always going to have the kind of defense where you're always going to have players in the first round. You're always going to have players in the second round. You're always going to have players in the third round. Their defense is always good. But it's a matter of how long are they on the field? Is Milroe going to lead them on drives? And even if he leads them on drives where it just results in a field goal, if you're chewing, time off the clock, you're giving that defense some time to rest. I think that the defense has been out there, quite a bit. So yeah, it's definitely a game that I'm going to watch. I just, as far as
football.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. See, let me coach. Stavisky used to say just complimentary football. That's when we used to be good.
Yep.
You take both.
Bama just isn't king. They're not king this year, and I think you have several really good teams in the SEC this year. You've got Georgia, you've got Tennessee, you've got Missouri, you've got LSU. So you've got Georgia is, I think, going to be the SEC champion this year. So you're seeing me all over. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, those are the big games this year. You do have LSU at Texas A&M. I think that that's going to be a tough matchup for LSU, but ultimately I think LSU is going to come out on top. I'm not all that convinced that LSU is a really great team, or if it's a strength of schedule thing for them. LSU is kind of one of those. LSU is LSU. They're always going to be good until
that deep-rooted culture too. Don't you think one of those teams that are just, like you said,
it's
LSU.
Right. Right. They're always going to be good, but I think LSU also has a propensity to blow it in the games where they need
They're not
to.
Ohio State.
They no, well, we blow it too.
No, we don't.
We do though. Ryan Day's he's got a really poor record against top 5 teams. We can talk about that. I don't have any of that prepared today, but LSU is one of those teams where they blow it when they really need to step up. And so I outside of the Joey Burrow era, I'm in recent times, I'm not seeing LSU, really making a ton of noise. That's another thing that, maybe they'll surprise me and maybe they'll actually start playing up to their capability, up to their level of talent. LSU is one of those, I think that sometimes they play to the level of their talent and it takes them down a little bit. So
and we can always use them for OBJ.
We can. Yeah.
That's, he had that one good year on the Giants.
Yes. Yeah.
He did. Really 2 years.
He did. He had that one good year on the Giants, and then I don't know what happened. I don't know. Maybe he was a little bit overrated too.
Yes. Awesome. Really, really good stuff. I'm gonna have to go back because I was trying to do this. I didn't get to write down like some of the bets that I wanted to put make on some of your teams, but I think I have most of them right here. I can also look at your notes too. So we're also going to start. You guys, I'm doing really good on my betting. I started with like $5, and then I went to 55, and I went all the way down. Now I'm back up past 50 again.
That's awesome.
So I'm having a lot of fun with that.
So the betting is interesting on college football. I don't love betting on college football because, betting the straight line, the money line, that kind of thing, like, it's college football is one of those things where, especially in the third or fourth quarter, if there are blowouts, they're going to put in their second and third string. So covering the money line, and a lot of the coaches don't like to do that. They don't like to blow these teams out. They don't like to run the score up so much. And Vegas always wins. Vegas knows that. So that's why some of the money lines are some of the spread is as high as it is. For anybody that's out there new to betting, if you're going to bet, you want to, if it's a plus, so Ohio State right now, if it's a plus or a minus, so your minus is going to be, they're the favorite. So they're going to be, obviously the higher the minus, the heavier the favorite. So in the OSU Nebraska game, OSU is a minus 6,000 on the money line, which means that if you bet $10, you're going to win 66 cents. So you'd have to bet hundreds of thousands of dollars on Ohio State if you wanted to win.
If you bet $10 for them to lose, how much money do you make?
Well, okay, so Nebraska is the plus 1,800. So you'll win. Yeah. So you're that's where you the minus means that it's likely that they are the ones that are going to win, and that's the bet that's likely going to pay. It's not going to pay a lot. Your plus is where you're going to win your most money. Now, what I like is parlays. Those are where you're going to make your most money. So if you are new to betting, go in and look on, like a DraftKings, and it's going to give you, a list where you pick, this person is going to score. This person is going to have a rushing touchdown. This person is going to have a receiving touchdown. This quarterback is going to pass for over 400 yards. And it's going to give you those odds. So if you have the plus, and you do a parlay with a ton of pluses, and you do, a parlay with a couple of minuses to balance that out, you're going to win some really good money. Nice. So build your parlay.
I'm getting my new boobs.
Yeah, girl, same.
That's I'm winning them. I'm going to parlay it. Like I've been making little things, and if I win, then I'm going to do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll do it together. We'll recover together. We'll go to one of those clinics out in California where then they put you up in a hotel and they take care of you.
So if you see me one day with the big, everything looks a little different, then you know that I've been hitting some parlays.
Right. She won some parlays. Yeah.
I've been off social media for 6 weeks.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why. And then talking though, guys. Don't worry.
All of a sudden taking the ass shots, and maybe I got a little fat transfer. Mind your business.
Mind your business.
mind your business and see what I'm betting.
Right. Don't talk to me.
I want to just really quick tease a couple things that we have coming up. Obviously, I've been talking a little bit about my Boom Boom Mancini interview. I am so excited about this, guys. I'm going to wear it out because I don't care, and I'm really excited. I think it's going to be really fun. So I've been researching his life, and I'm excited to talk to him and see what his thoughts are on Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. We have that fight coming up, and we're going to talk about that a lot on Bougie Sports because it's fun. I see Netflix is coming out with a documentary previewing the fight. I think it's November 14th or something. Don't quote me. It's that Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Friday.
That's the 15th. I think the Friday's the 15th. So
okay, the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, which I'm going to be watching, and
rooting for Mike Tyson. I'm just putting it out there. I hope Jake Paul gets his bell rung. I'm just saying.
Me too. I wanted to get one of the things that really fascinates me, and I think this is playing back to when I was started to talk about the mob in the 70s and 80s, just going to back as the changes and the changes in everything, but the changes in sports. And I would love to think what Boom Boom Mancini thinks about the changes of boxing and from what's going on now, and and how sports betting has changed a lot of things.
Yeah,
I want to show something really quick if I can, since I'm just on one. If you guys have to, just something really, really quick. If I know.
Yeah. Well, even though Jake Paul is a Cleveland guy or whatever, wherever he's from, the mean streets of the privileged life that he grew up in, I'm a Mike Tyson fan. I've been a Mike Tyson fan, forever. He's really the reason that I was ever interested in boxing, because every now and then those athletes just come along, and he was one of those athletes that are generational, and you'll never see one like that again in your
Oh my God, I am solely on your side. I want to see Mike Tyson beat the shit out
of him.
And I hope it goes long. All right, hold on. I think I have this.
KO.
Yeah, and I don't hate Jake Paul either. I don't really feel any type of way. I just really
don't like him. He's kind of an asshole.
Okay, let's see if I do. Okay, I want to show something real quick. I'm going to do it, I promise. I promise. Got it.
The WNBA lightweight champion of the world, here at Caesar Palace, is Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Hurry on home.
How fast he is. Wow.
Hurry home early.
Sorry, guys. Go back to StreamYard.
That's going to be a really exciting interview, and I'm excited to be behind the scenes on that one, to be a part of it, just to watch you. So that's going to be an exciting one. Yeah, we've got lots of good things coming up on Bougie Sports. We have lots of good things, you guys. So we're not just going to focus on. Yeah, we're trying not to focus just on
sports shirt. Yeah. I'm always doing the wrong way. So yeah, that is another thing where I think we're going live next week. No, is it the 13th? We're going to be.
It's the 13th in 2 weeks. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we'll be doing this podcast live from Nexon Sports Cards. We'll probably break open some more boxes.
Yeah,
maybe give away a couple things. So look forward to that. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
And what else do we have? Anything else, real quick?
Okay. Yeah, we've got some. Yeah, I put it out yesterday. If anybody wanted to join on the college football. I have some really good guests lined up. So we've just, and like we had mentioned earlier, Lysandra and I are going to start talking about the NBA, the Cavs. I'm so excited about the Cavs season this year. I'm beyond excited. It's no secret to anybody that follows me that I am an Isaac Okoro. I'm an Isaac Okoro stan girl here. So, but I am just so pumped to see Evan Mobley is shining in this offense. And I know it's only been one game, but Mobley is my God, did he have an amazing game? And they play again tonight. So yeah,
we've got a very fun team to watch. Very fun to watch last year. You called your guy, and I'll let you take him because I took David Njoku kind of off, but nobody's taken my guy, which I don't think he played a lot, which is Sam Merrill. I don't know what
He played quite a bit. He played quite a bit.
That's my man. So keep your dirty paws off my.
That's okay. I like Isaac. I like Isaac Okoro.
And then you can have a Okoro. All right.
Yep.
I'm taking Merrill, and then we
Mobley.
can Kane, and you can wear. I'm gonna wear a Merrill shirt, and you wear an Okoro shirt.
I just ordered a new Isaac Okoro jersey. Yeah. I ordered a new Isaac Okoro jersey because I had him sign my other one, and I can't wear that. It's sacred now. So yeah, Mobley. I think Mobley is going to have a breakout year this year. I think that Mobley is going to be. He's going to be the guy. And what I absolutely love about Donovan Mitchell is that Donovan Mitchell he's more than happy to pass the ball. If someone is hot, Donovan Mitchell, he is going to feed that man. So he is the least selfish player ever. So yeah, we're going to have
his name. That's what I was going to tell you. Like, I kind of felt like when I was like, oh, you can have a Okoro or whatever, because I want Sam Merrill, but I do have this name for Sam Merrill. You know, when you get like, when you like get to pick on someone, you know, that's your man. Like, anyway, I wanted to say Donovan Mitchell. I know that's a little basic, but I think he doesn't
He's
like
a nice guy.
I think as much love as he should as the star of the show, because he is so. I'm not this girl. Like, I don't want to talk bad about LeBron.
Not a diva.
LeBron was different. LeBron was like,
he was a diva. LeBron was a feed me guy, and even when LeBron was being a passer, and LeBron was still a selfish. Like, LeBron was going to take the last shot. He was not that, and he's amazing. I love LeBron. I actually have zero hate for LeBron, but Donovan Mitchell is such a different kind of star because he's so humble. He's so likable. I mean, he almost tried to kill you.
Like, bowl in the Muni lot.
I was going to say he almost tried to kill you even when he was bowling in the Muni lot.
Or Philip energy. I mean, you can have that star energy, and it's just like nobody like. Which is awesome.
No one is afraid of the Bulls. No one is afraid of the Bulls. It's going to be the Celtics are going to be the team to beat this year. The Celtics are definitely going to be the team to beat. But I think that we have the pieces.
Are you watching that? Or any of you guys watching that show on? I'm such a dork, but you know, it is what it is. We all have our things. You guys know all our dumb things, but I watch a lot of TV on Netflix, and I love documentaries. With LeBron James' documentary, it's basketball season. He's on it. The one guy's on it, and I'm like obsessed. Oh my gosh!
I haven't started it yet. It's actually in my queue for next up. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
it's Jameson Winston on the of the NBA. What the frick is his name? Not Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Davis.
Is it? I don't know. He's
called starting five. It's Jimmy Butler, Anthony Edwards, LeBron James, Sabonis, and Jason Tatum. So yeah, it's in my queue to hit up.
You gotta watch it with me because that's what we have to talk about. Because I watched the first episode. And
okay, I'll watch it.
Yeah, it's the thing about like to me about falling like in love with the athletes as people is like when you see these documentaries and you kind of get behind that fourth wall and you learn about their personalities, and like that's what made me start like Steph Curry. I would have never liked Steph Curry.
I like Steph Curry. I don't want to.
Documentary. Oh my god! If you're a fan of him, you need to watch his documentary because I was not a fan of him until I watched.
Yeah, I like Steph Curry just because of what he does for women's sports. He's sort of like picking up where Kobe Bryant left off, and you know he's really making sure that girls are empowered in basketball. And I don't love the WNBA. I don't love women's basketball. I am more into it now, but I think it's so important to empower girls to play sports and to get involved. And it's really, Steph is actually, as a player, I never wanted to like him because, you know, Golden State and when the Cavs and Golden State are in every year. There is one player though that I will never like, and there is nothing anybody could ever do to change my mind ever.
Aaron Rodgers.
Draymond Green. Ever.
Oh, okay, yeah. He's pretty horrible too. He's pretty horrible.
He's Donkey from Shrek. I don't, but Donkey is likable, but I will never, ever like Draymond Green ever.
Yeah,
there's nothing anybody could ever say.
That's Aaron Rodgers for me, I think.
Yeah, no, I don't like Aaron Rodgers either. I definitely don't like Aaron Rodgers
too. But,
and Moore, the coach for Michigan. He's on my list too. Yeah, no, it definitely isn't because the grain is here. That should make him more likable.
That's not fair. I hate that men McCott grain. Like
I know that should make him more likable. So yeah. So we could go on and on and on, but I think that we're nearing an hour, so I think we can wrap this up. Thank you guys for joining us. We've got a lot coming up, so please follow us again. Follow us on Bougie Sports on X. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube. Check us out on Instagram, and again, follow us on YouTube. Subscribe and check out our website, bougiesports.net. You'll see a lot of fun content with us on there. So just and follow Yvette, follow myself. There's we're constantly posting about the stuff that's coming up too. So you're gonna see a lot of Yvette and I doing some live collaborations. So
yes, and live from different spots too.
Yep.
Also, look forward for a OHIO move. OHIO with us before we leave. My daughter's starting to learn about
She's to where we're doing that. Well, while we're getting her, we'll put up the link. I'm rocking the homage shirt. If you guys need some gear, some NBA, NFL, MLB, college, check out homage. We'll put the link up for
you can grab you can get
bougiesports.net. Check it out on there. I cannot overstate, you guys, how comfortable homage shirts are. I know that they're a little bit expensive, but I promise you these things will survive a nuclear holocaust and they will be just as soft. So I have a closet full of homage, and every time I go into Easton shopping, I have to pop into the store and buy something so they can take all my money.
We'll give away an homage shirt on our next podcast.
Yeah, no, actually it's not my own business. I'm not getting anything out of this. I literally get nothing out of this. I am just that passionate about their clothes. It's awesome there. So
we are partnered. We are partnered with Homage, and so we
do. But I personally am not getting anything out of this except the pleasure of promoting it's a small business in that regard, and their clothes. I'm telling you guys, it's like wearing a cloud. Half of the shirts that you see me wearing is homage. So check them out.
And sometimes you'll be like, oh, I don't spend that much, right? And then you'll buy
right.
And you put it on, you're like, oh my God, because it's so uncomfortable and it looks all boxy and stuff. And you like want to be comfortable in the clothes like that you feel. So yes, everything that she said. Thank you guys so much. I'm starving.
I am too. It's time to eat. I haven't even had lunch today, so I'm starting to get a little bit, jittery because I had my Starbucks a little bit late today. So the caffeine is coursing. I need some food.
All right, guys, be safe. Have a great weekend, and go Buckeyes.
Yes, go Bucks. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Bye.